normally as the best tactics to disrupt what you'd say is kind of classical T20 batters.
Yes, and yeah, none more classical than Shikhar Dhawan, who's back on strike. Certainly been there and done it, and if there's any all-time up there. Played in every IPL. Did he play in the very first one? That might have been just a little bit before his time. Mills is back over the wicket, and that's full ball clipped up to long on. It'll be another single.
I think Mills nearly appealed for that.
He almost looked as if he was going to, even though it just came straight off the middle of the bat up to long on. Slightly harassed looking Rohit Sharma. They are 82 for naught, and of course his team are on no wins out of 4 games, so he must be feeling that a little bit.
2 of them were here as well, weren't they? The last 2 they've played. Both, I think, batting first and both failing to win.
And he's not really got a score, is that right? That's Fuller, and he's got underneath that one, Agarwal. Has he got enough? Yes, he has. He certainly had enough not to be caught, because mid-off was up. And Bruce Oxenford raises his mighty shield to show that is 6, and that is 50 for Mike Agarwal. Busy for you, Tony.
50, 50, 50, pretty nifty on a bowler's pitch.
I don't agree with the last bit. I think it's a batter's pitch, isn't it?
Well, it's hardly our jingler's fault. We had a look at the Punjab Kings bench there. You don't see Priti Zinta in the Punjab Kings entourage anymore. Have they phased her out as well?
I guess so.
You said her running on the pitch antics. That one is shovelled out towards deep square by Agarwal, and he'll pick up a single.
To go back to the ball before, I think Agarwal was either waiting for that, or it's a really good example of how a top order batter can adjust. It was the slower ball on a length, and he's drilled it back down the ground.
He almost had to get under it a little bit.
He had like an inside out motion to it almost,
Yeah.
Hit with a bit of a power fade, I think they'd say.
Like my golf shots, except without the power and a bit more of the fade.
Oh, if you're talking about fades, talk to Max Rowe Brown about his fade. Legendary fade.
Mills is going to come in. It's a full toss, and again Dhawan doesn't really take advantage, clips it out to deep mid wicket for a single. I once went out for a round of golf with a friend of mine. He'd just broken up with his girlfriend, and he wanted to have a nice leisurely round of golf and just kind of talk through it, except he hooked everything and I sliced everything, so we never saw each other all day.
Played a few like that, I can tell you, in my golfing days.
That's Sachin Tendulkar, still got his hand well in the Mumbai Indians pie. That's the life. Be a mentor, just talk a bit of shit and get paid an absolute fortune and have no responsibility for anything.
He's a mentor. Is that actually the title?
I believe so. Yes. It just means someone you want to keep on the payroll for marketing purposes.
And who does his lad play for? Them.
It was this as well.
He plays
them
for
as
the
well.
Indians.
Yes. What a surprise.
We're using play in the loosest sense of the word there, aren't we?
In the Marley Richards loose sense of the word.
Who was it brought his son to every team he managed? Was it Tony Pulis?
Steve Bruce did that for a little while.
He did at least play a few games, Alex Bruce. Right, Morgan Ashwin's going to come in. Down the track goes Dhawan. He's gone for the big heave over the leg side. He's tipped it over the boundary. If that was me, that was worse than me, because if that was me, I would have just watched it go for 4. The fielder had a big dive, got a hand. It's gone for 4 anyway. I thought he tipped that over the boundary. It wasn't a bad effort, but he kind of did help it on its way.
I think we want to look.
It's the boy again.
I believe this is 6.
I thought it was initially.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a clear 6. Umpires are having another bender today.
Oh, it's a shocker as well. I mean, it's
landed
bouncing 2 yards inside the rope.
It's bouncing 2 yards inside.
Well, surely they're going to correct that, aren't they?
I think they have.
It says 96 on the board.
Yes, I think they have. They've tipped that into the leg side for a single. I am, like Kingsley Amos said, entering my anecdotage. I've got an anecdote for every ball. I was playing a game once, and it wasn't off my bowling, so I wasn't too sore about it, but the ball was hit up towards long on. It was coming about 10 yards inside the rope. The fielder, for some reason, tried to take one of those catches where you slide underneath it. It hit him on the thigh, and spring bounced over the rope for 6. Hit him on the thigh while he was horizontal, trying to sort of slide under the ball. That one's gone high, but surely it's not far enough. It's up, and he's caught that time.
Surya
Kumar, thank you, with the catch. But good innings from Agrawal, 52 off 31. And Punjab Kings are 97 for 1.
Got him! Why did he do that? Unbelievable!
That's the one they'll have wanted as well, I think. Agrawal was looking pretty dangerous.
Yes, certainly. He just got underneath that one a bit. And 2 of the Mumbai Indians, mega rich owners, jumping up and down. One of them perhaps more astute, thinking, just Livingston's coming in now.
And the Ambanis, Akash Ambani.
I do recognise the lady, because she's been at Mumbai forever, and she's always hanging around India as well when they're in the T20s, but I couldn't tell you her name. Perhaps some of our Indian listeners could.
The richest people in Asia, the Ambanis, I think.
It's going to be this man, who I believe is from Bradford. Certainly a man of Yorkshire.
It's Johnny B.
What?
Forever in your face. It's Johnny B. And he will cause some controversy.
Mixing it up a bit, you were expecting smarter than the average Bairstow, weren't you?
Smarter than the average Bairstow.
That's miles better.
But I don't mind a bit of Peter Gabriel either, so...
Yeah, I hope he gets out and then gets to come back in again for some reason. Or they bring him on to bowl. I want to hear more of that.
Well, it is. Whether he is smarter than the average bear or a sledgehammer or both, he is on strike because they didn't cross, although that's not going to be a thing from next season. Anyway, that's popped into the offside for no run. That's another thing I said for a couple of years shouldn't happen. Why should batsmen cross when someone's caught?
It's already a thing in the IPL.
Have they changed
they
it?
Brought it in, yeah.
Good for them. It's going to be a thing in all cricket from October, I think.
Of course, carnage in club cricket, no doubt.
Well, it's just because club cricketers are idiots mostly. That one's played out towards deep point, and there's going to be a single. It was my mistake for getting involved in the conversation, but we're talking about these rule changes on the club WhatsApp group, and a couple of the Saturday players absolutely enraged by the minor change to the Mankad law, saying, everybody's going to be Mankadding everybody all the time.
I mean, there is a way to prevent that.
I made this point, and then I've received nothing but, opprobrium just for saying back up properly. Just because you were told to walk in with the bowler 30 years ago doesn't mean you have to do it now. It's a single to long off.
I agree with you. No, for once, I'm 100% with you on that one.
Good.
Would you change at the end of this over?
The old switcheroo.
It is. Was that the end of the over?
Yes.
It is the switcheroo time. Let me just say, whoever is Messrs. Warren, and summoning up the man from Uncle is your next tweet.
We will catch Tony later. We will wait for Messrs to sort out his microphone. The now traditional misplugging of the microphone, and Max is going to take the seat. Do you want to do the jingles, Max? He says, why not? And sits down. It is 99 for 1. The Punjab Kings batting first here. Shikhar Dhawan on 35 from 26. Young Johnny Bairstow's now at least middle-aged Johnny Bairstow, let's be honest. 1 from 2. And Jasprit Bumrah will be returning to the attack. Jez, I think you do need to check that mic.
I'm back in now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Warren says in response to Leah saying didn't Spectre also nonce his own children, he says, I'm pretty sure Spectre did, as per James Bond. As
Bumrah is in, and it's steered down to third, deep third, by Shikhar Dhawan for a single. The 100's up, triple digits. They've had one short of the century partnership. You don't get too many of them in the IPL. It would have been a nice accomplishment for the two Punjab openers.
And a ball short of doing it in exactly 10 overs, which obviously would be nice symmetry.
Yeah. So, a lot wrong with the end.
about the only thing wrong with the Punjab effort so far, though.
We're going to have 3 overs of Bumrah across the next 10, so there's a potential route back into this for Mumbai there, as he comes in that inimitable way of his, just back of a length, and Bairstow defends. I was at the Oval.
Brian Barish says, Jack, I'm guessing that Dodgers hat was a gift from your Californian roommate.
It is good knowledge from Brian Barish to put 2 and 2 together there. That is correct.
Was it an apology for all the unannounced feng shui?
We'll have to explain that in a moment. Here is Bumrah, back of a length, and dropped down to third by Bairstow. He just gets that past Ishan Krishnan at keeper. You don't really say at keeper.
Behind the stumps.
Through second slip. Just a single, 101. Yeah, my housemate, she's got a bit of a habit, Jez, for moving the furniture around when I'm not there. I send pictures through to Max occasionally of
it can be very disconcerting.
Of the feng shui being disturbed.
Dear God. I love being single.
Well, it's a housemate, not a girlfriend.
Yeah, but living by myself.
Yeah.
Like that.
Here's Bumrah around the wicket to the left-handed Darwan, and that's a shot and a half. He guides the ball. I mean, you can only say that's a guide, really, over the top of Ishan Krishan's head, and it's one bounce into the advertising hoardings. Max, you're going to have to leap into action here with a 4 runs jingle. Take your pick. Here he comes. High roll, things not going his way. But we're back on it there though. Line and length, defended by Darwan to point, no run.
So obviously we have an array of jingles here for 4s and 6s, but they all just have somewhat cryptic names that I don't understand. I don't know how long they are, so it's...
They do, on the bottom right it says how long they are. So you can...
Oh, so it does.
Yeah. There you go, a little,
there we go.
Little insider's
we got
tip.
the pro. Yeah.
Here's Bumrah to finish the over. Round the wicket, and Darwan will drop and run. No, was there a shy from point there, or did he hold on to the ball? Either way, it didn't hit the stumps. It's a single, 7 from that one, 106 for 1, and we'll go back to messages.
Yeah, he says, best insult I ever got were when I were in Burbage. Inmate's partner said, I looked like a teen wolf during the change. I think he wanted to start something, but I was too busy laughing. Spot on, lad. And Brian Barish's best insult was directed at an AFL umpire, Ray Chamberlain. It was a sign at the MCG that said, the dingo took the wrong Chamberlain.
Well, there you go. That's pretty deep, isn't it?
Leah wants to see Oxenford's shield shattered and injure him, which doesn't seem very generous.
Okay, that's 2 tweets in a row.
I'm not condoning that.
We've gone dark.
Started it.
Warren says if the ball deflects off the oxen shield on the full and is caught out.
Good question.
It's only out if it's caught off one hand, or is it a dead ball?
Good question. As Murugan Ashwin will complete his spell. Darwan happy to take a single there to square leg in the vicinity of Oxenford, actually. And we get a look at the Tartar New box. It's quite difficult to describe what that is. It's a balcony that looks like it would have a terrible view with a big N on it,
so
and a lot of people waving their
arms. If you win a
arms.
competition, you get to watch the game from the Tartar New box.
From the worst possible position in the stadium.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And the only seats are inside where you can't watch the game from. You have to stand to watch the game.
Ashford tosses one up and he strikes Bairstow on the back pad. There's half an appeal, but I think it was going down. They come through for a leg bye in amongst that. Maybe a little bit of lax fielding, to be honest. It didn't go very far. The DRS countdown timer will presumably tick over. 108 for 1.
Yeah, I think we'll just about to see that this was sliding quite comfortably down the leg side.
Yeah, it might be the wrong one as well there, Matt.
Yes, it was indeed. Not really picked by Bairstow, but...
No, he is off strike now though. Left-hander Darwan on strike. He goes for the slog sweep and that's a good wrong and it spins and bounces and it hits Ishan Krishnan in the chest behind the stumps actually. Not able to take it cleanly. Well bowled Murugan Ashwin, who's recovered a little bit after his iffy first couple of overs.
Yeah, was it 17 off his first one, wasn't it? So,
yeah,
dragged it back in the next 2.
1 for 30 now. Here he comes once more, tossing the ball up. He does the Shane Warne toss in his run-up, but doesn't really bowl anything like Shane Warne. That one's quite leg side and swept to Brevis on the fence for a single. Do you know what I mean? At the top of his mark, he stands there and he tosses the ball up from his right hand
to hand
to his
thing.
left.
Yeah. That's what every young bowler aspiring to be Shane Warne does, doesn't it?
Yes. But yeah, not the actual bowling part.
Slightly harder.
He hasn't nailed quite as well.
Well, if you're going to imitate someone, imitate the bit that you are able to imitate.
Fair enough, I suppose. Bairstow's on strike in his golden helmet, golden pads and red, uniforms. I was going to say whites, but not whites. He cuts one away backward a point, and they're going to come back for a reasonably comfortable 2 here. The ball bouncing a couple of times before it reaches Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, it's just, we're on to Nelson now. I don't know if Nelson's a thing amongst gorillas, but it's 111 for 1, all the ones. And Mumbai have just managed to slow things down slightly in the last couple of overs. We had 12 runs in the last 11 balls. So.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. 11.5 overs. We've actually got 111-1-1-1 on our screens.
It's a feast.
It's a feast of ones. Ashwin, it's a short ball wide of stump, but it's the wrong on it. It comes back into Bairstow, cramps him for him just enough so that he doesn't time it that well. He'll pick up a single to the sweeper at deep cover though. End of the over, 112 now. Ruins the effect after 12.
Oh dear. Eddie Brown 15 says, and I'm not sure I get the relevance of this, says John Bond signed his son Kevin quite often. Warren tells Leah she's had too much Marvel and not enough cricket. Jay says Bairstow is York. Leah says I actually prefer European stuff to Marvel. And lists some of it. Jay says I imitate Shane Warne. I'm fat. That's about it, but baby steps.
Max is collapsing a chair in the corner of the studio here. It's kind of a little bit wobbly, this one, so you maybe need to turn the base round.
I'll just lean to the right a bit.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Adam on YouTube says it's time to get Liam Livingston in. I rather think that's probably right. I suspect Dewan is sort of running out of puff.
Well, Bairstow's 5 off 7. He's not doing the business. I think he should retire.
From cricket.
Maybe not cricket.
Tyrell Mills back into the attack. So they're going to use another one of his overs quite early in the piece here. He'll be bowling over the wicket, left arm over the wicket. Bairstow drills one back over his head, 1 bounce, 4. Beautiful shot from Bairstow there. Was that the slower ball there, Max, do you think? Or was that on pace and he's just timed the pants off it?
It looks like he's just timed that. And it was kind of in the slot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in the half volley area of the pitch. Good start to the over for Punjab. Maybe that will inject some momentum back into their innings. Although, I mean, we're saying that they are 116 for 1 after 12, so
there's still a bit of momentum.
So there is some momentum here. Yeah, not quite the runaway train they were 3 overs
ago. Do you think, Jack, this is an example of what you were saying before the show of Mumbai not quite trusting Tyrell Mills, bringing him on here?
Could be. Here he comes once more, short back of the length, slower ball. Bairstow pulls backward a square, and it will be 1. I mean, the question I'd ask is who is a better option for them to bowl at the end of the innings? Because using this is the 13th over of the match. Nobody talks about the crucial 13th over, do they?
Funnily enough, it's a running joke between me and my friends who go and watch cricket, because once in a T20 game at Surrey, there was a bloke behind us mansplaining T20 cricket to his partner, and the 13th over was apparently the key over in the match.
Oh well, apart from senior mansplainer, as Mills is in, and that's thick-edged down to third man. There's no real risk of a wicket falling, but I don't think that's where Darlan wanted it to go. Will be a single, 118 for 1. Carry on, Max.
Obviously, the running joke is that the 13th over is the most important over of the match. As you say, the reason that's funny is because it is about the least memorable over you can think of, apart from possibly the 7th.
Well, the 7th over's got like a little bit of a cachet, a niche following, hasn't it? Maybe someone should go back through.
I'm not that impressed with Mills as a death bowler, though, to be honest.
You very rarely see Mills get taken apart. He'll almost always go for like sort of 7+ because of where he bowls and how he bowls it, but very rarely do you see a 15 or a 20 Tyrell Mills at the end. He's quite consistently above average, I would say. I think what they're actually probably doing here is using him to try and get a wicket, because he has picked up some quite crucial wickets for them in the tournament so far, and he should have had one. It's dropped. That would have been an amazing piece of commentary. A flash from Darwan. It flies to the left of Ishan Kishan behind the stumps. He does have to dive for it, but he gets a nice long look at it. It's at a catchable height. If it was a shot in football, you'd have said he should have kept it on the floor. It's that kind of good height for a goalkeeper.
Good height for a goalkeeper.
It's a
real toe.
One hand on it in the webbing, but doesn't hold on. I think a good wicketkeeper takes that. Maybe.
I think you may be being.
It would have been a bloody
harsh
good
there.
catch.
He's on a full stretch. Obviously, it's gone to him quickly off the toe at the bat. I think he's just lacking an inch or two in height, which is something that I completely understand as a wicketkeeper.
Possibly. They could have done with that wicket anyway. Final delivery of the over. Mills goes right through him. So it's a good over there. It goes for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should have been a wicket. I'm going to stick with should have.
Well, it was sort of a first slip.
Yeah, it would have been.
It was regulation first slip.
Would have been an easy catch for first slip. And it was quite a difficult chance for a wicketkeeper.
But yeah, I mean, that's a couple of chances put down now, isn't it, by Mumbai Indians? So,
Jez.
So, in response to a tweet I sent saying club cricketers are idiots mostly, says the club cricketer, Jeff Perkins has tweeted very quickly a response of a club cricketer, i.e. a caveman with a club hitting a cricket ball to demonstrate what an idiot he is. Farong says, sadly for Mumbai supporters, no rain on the rain radar. Stick with my early prediction of Punjab getting over 180 to win. Just Ideal has some suggestions of shot descriptors. Shoveled, squirted, slashed, driven, cut, caressed, drilled and hammered. There is a list somewhere that's got about 120 different ways of doing it. Everything from nurdled through to...
Where's larrupped?
Yeah.
Larrupped's home to it, isn't it?
Who have we got here? Unad Cat in. It's not a great first delivery, it has to be said, and it's been scooped over his shoulder by Darwan for 4 runs.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
He moved into position for that about 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure that Cat should have bowled the ball where that ended up.
I think the best description of what the field thought of that was by the short, fine 45 leg side fielder who just didn't move.
Next delivery, he goes for the Yorker. It ends up being a low full toss on the pads of Darwan. Actually isn't too bad a ball in T20 cricket, to be honest. Knocked into the leg side for a single.
He was in that leaning forward, hands on thighs position.
It's a 50 for Darwan. He gets there from 37 balls. It's not too bad from him. Now Max has a job on his hand because he's got to find milestones.
Yeah.
M for milestones, Max. And then you've got to find the one that says 50. So don't press century. Here we go. What's he going to pick?
50, 50, 50, pretty nifty on a bowler's pitch.
We've had that one.
Right, well, we've got it again.
Reasonably well batted from Darwan. He's been dropped twice, but both were tricky-ish chances. Doing a job for his team in today's match as Unad Cat's in and Bairstow tries to whip it into the leg side, but no timing there. Cloths it out to deep mid-wicket and they'll take a single.
So I think we're just seeing, aren't we, Jack, that the problem with the Mumbai lineup is just a bit toothless. Too much heavy lifting needed by Bumrah, and if he's not doing the heavy lifting, it's a problem.
He hasn't been. Yeah. Yes, it is. I think when Murugan Ashwin is your second most likely bowler to take a wicket, that is a difficulty. As Unad Cat he's bowling from round. He's a left-arm bowler, Unad Cat. He's bowling round the wickets to the left-handed Darwan, trying to create some kind of an angle here. Darwan plays a club like a caveman swinging.
It was
club
ugly.
Type shot. Yeah,
It was
he picked up a
agricultural.
single down to long
That's
on.
another word for the list, isn't it?
Yeah. It was a bit of scythe.
Yeah.
Do you like that? 1 run. That's the important thing. If you're keeping score at home. 127 for 1. Run rate's at 9.29. They're in a pretty good position to push the 200 plus here, I think, Punjab. And he's bowled him! We've been talking down Unad Kat. He gives Bairstow the death stare. I think Bairstow played on. He walks off shaking his head. 12 from 13 balls. Not a great innings. I think that was the slower one, angled across him.
It was very slow, 103 kilometres an hour.
And Bairstow's hit it into the base of leg stump. Now Max is going to have to get the wickets. The wickets thing up.
I think this is appropriate.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at?
Probably. Unad Kat, he gave it the big boy stare there. I'm not sure. Based on what we've seen from Unad Kat, he's got that.
He's not got the face of a big boy starer either.
No.
It's not. What's the word? It's not aggressive enough. It's not intimidating enough.
Do you know what I think it is? His skin's too smooth. Too much moisturiser. Yeah? If he had a little bit of sort of pock-marked skin,
a scar or something across the eye.
Yeah, a moon-shaped scar across one cheek. Maybe an eye patch. Then he'd be in business. He's actually, his figures today, 1 for 20 off nearly 3 overs, aren't too bad.
Yeah.
And we're going to get Liam Livingston. Do you want to play the jingle?
Yes, let's do it.
I am Liam Livingston. I play for the Lightning. My one-day kit is blue, but for the test it's white.
So that's a bit more our era, isn't it?
Yeah, what's that one?
Stone
the
Roses,
Resurrection.
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm the Resurrection.
I have an official protest to make.
Okay.
It's been pointed out by Warren that on the Facebook stream that I am actually the invisible man. Somebody needs to push a button to put me on screen.
I am sorry about that. Let me just set you up correctly as Unad Kat is in, and it's knocked into the offside for a single. And now you're back on the screen. Sorry about that for folks at home.
Thank you, Jack. That's quite all right.
Missing out on a little bit of messages there. It's the timeout, the Woodstock strategic timeout. We've got 2 minutes 30 of Wibble to do. Let's start that off with some social media.
Okay, Jay Grover says, I'm ashamed to admit, expand the cult made me split tea. Oh, not again. You're always splitting tea. Stop this. I can't afford my PC going back to the computer jail. Jeff Perkins, in response to the discussion about spelling of the Punjab Kings, says, well, it is Ramadan at the moment. What is Ramadan? I've responded to Just Ideal's list of suggested shots with the Stephen Fry list of shots, ways of describing shots, which must be, I suppose, about 60 different things. Everything from squirt to mullah to jab to blast to
Hump.
feather. Just
throwing it out there.
There's a word that Bear used at the top of the show, which I've described someone as hitting the ball before, right?
Really?
I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah. Batter. I like batter.
The batter's battered it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's treated that one like a Mars bar in Glasgow.
Right, folks, back to the cricket. Back to the cricket.
Stephen Kelks on YouTube says, afternoon, gents.
Hello, Stephen. Where do we see this innings going for Punjab, Max?
Interestingly, they've not kicked on as you might expect them to do from the excellent start that they got. You know, we're used to them just hammering the ball around, but I suppose that's because they haven't lost any wickets. Ironically, because you'd say Dhawan and Agarwal are probably the least explosive of the batsmen, batters in the lineup. So with Liam Livingston in now, and after the 14th over, that's sort of ideal for him, I suppose, isn't it, to come and try and score as quickly as he can. So I think, they've got to be eyeing 200 plus, surely, from here. 220?
Yes. Sorry, I was just looking at some messages on the old YouTube. What's the static sound behind? It's a bit hard to hear you guys. Maybe have we got the crowd noise turned up slightly too loud? We'll get Bear to maybe come and figure that out. But let us know if it might be the crowd noise. If we don't have that, then there's quite a lot of silence.
It's like comforting white noise, isn't it?
I don't know. Somebody has set it sound in the background. Yeah, apparently the crowd noise might be slightly too loud. Yeah. Do mid-off, there is no run. Do you want to play Brummer's? You don't have to. If they're coming back into the attack.
It sounds like we're sitting in a noisy cafe or railway station.
Well, railway stations aren't good, are they? Well, we'll see. I'm sure we'll figure it out. Maybe we need to just talk louder. Is that the solution? Boomer around the wicket, driven by Dhawan, who's coming down the wicket to that one. It will be just another single, though, to Surya Kumar Yadav at mid-off on the edge of the circle. In that kind of... It's an interesting position, that, isn't it? Because there's always one there, but quite often four as well. I suppose you need to keep some men in the ring, don't you? It's
the rules, yeah. I think CSK actually fell foul of that yesterday.
They did, yeah. It was quite incredible. Although they were winning that game so easily, it didn't really matter. Bumrah, hop, skip and a jump. Here he comes, past the umpire. Yorked him!
Oh.
Livingston is gone. That is as comprehensive as it gets. Leg stump is pegged back. The danger man out for 2. Mumbai fighting back. Punjab 130 for 3. That was a real on your bike moment.
That is trademark.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's a beautiful ball.
Middle leg, Yorker. And how many balls does Livingston face?
2 or 3, yeah.
I mean...
That's as good as it gets.
Good one early, mate.
That is as good as it gets. Gets a good player out. I mean, Livingston wasn't really trying to do anything with that as well. I think he was just trying to hit the ball.
Yeah.
He has failed. Bumrah gives it a real big fist pump. He's not quite come into this tournament yet. Maybe he sees that as him announcing himself, Max.
Yeah, that could be the moment. We see. Are we spying a hat trick coming up here? Are we going to go that far immediately?
Well, he's got one. There's 3 balls left in the over. Have we got a hat trick jingle? Who knows?
I'm sure there is.
We do need a jingle. Jitesh Sharma. I'm
so.
not sure whether it'll be on 1 or 2. We'll play it maybe after this ball.
I have found him, so let's hope he lasts long enough.
It's another Yorker, and he plays that reasonably well, to be honest. He's going to push it down the ground, and it will be a single too long on. So well done, Jitesh. You lived to fight another day.
Jitesh Sharma.
So now, to me, that jingle sounded really quiet.
That's it.
I wonder if the levels
I feel robbed.
I wonder if the levels are slightly off. That did sound very quiet in my ears. Anyway, we'll leave Bear to figure that out. Another Yorker from Bumrah. He's found his range here. Yeah. Dhawan bunts it to Rohit at extra cover for a single. He scampered through for that one, trying to get himself off strike, I think, as much as anything.
144 Ks as well, that one. His pace is up. He's chomping at the bit here, Jasprit Bumrah.
And we've got 1 delivery left in our spell. I think I'm out of here after this for a well-earned break. I've got some Scotch eggs in my bag.
Lovely.
Some pineapple.
I've got a steak to cook. Yes.
Oh, you're having a steak. Steak night in Australia. Another Yorker, really well dug out by Jitesh Sharma. Just 4 from the over. A wicket, 132 for 3 at the end of the 15th. And I will make way.
Catch you later.
Yeah, so I believe Andy will be coming in alongside Tony. So I will pass over.
Thank you. So 5 overs to go, just until we all get settled. And a bit like I was saying, you can set up the platform and the powerful batsmen are ready to come in at the perfect time, and yet it just doesn't quite... which one's Twitter on here, Tony? Is it this one? Oh, well, we're out of Twitter for 5 overs there, because I don't have Twitter on my phone. If you can just hand it over.
What a Yorker that was by Jasprit Bumrah. My goodness me, Liam Livingston. It tailed into him, just a little bit of movement in the air, and it was absolutely cleaned up, Livingston, didn't it? It was a quite superb ball. Tymar Mills is going to be the man to continue. But that's nearly a York as well. He shouts for LBW, but I thought it was a whopping great inside edge. It will get a single. well, Rohit Sharma seems vaguely interesting, but he's got a bit of a smile on his face at the same time, which would suggest he probably doesn't really think that.
Was this chair like this before?
It has a tendency, if you're not careful, to roll sideways.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, no, I have fallen out of it a couple of times and looked somewhat ungainly
surprise.
in the process. Well, I surprised myself by, it was a big inside edge. It's a huge inside edge. And got a single. 133 for 3, Mumbai Indians fighting back. And the feeling was that if you got Bairstow and Livingston together, anything could happen. Well, it did. They're both out.
Yes, that is included.
So something did happen.
Included in the set of anything, yes.
Well, yeah, that is very true. It is 133 for 3. The run rate, 8.7.
And
why are they if they're reviewing this? This is absurd.
Well, because they've got 2 reviews and 5 overs left, and they're just checking that they haven't all gone mad. But yes, it and we're not just being, after timing on the replay, it did look like a big inside edge from the
third umpire
from the first viewing.
Umpire Brian Hanrahan.
Must be able to bring Twitter up on one of these. Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Except we're on. Actually, no, I'll probably just end up throwing the computer out of the window because it's an Apple. And it's totally impossible to do anything.
You see where it says as well, you need to let Ajit in. Otherwise, he can't do any. I
have no idea what to do, Tony.
Maybe
I'm sorry.
you and I need to swap seats. Let's quickly do that while we've got the chance.
Okay, a little bit too much of a look behind the curtain there. Sorry about that. We've had some kind of dead ball, and everybody's going what on screen, just the same as us. No one seems to know what's happening. So at least we're level with the game on that score. I was just them turning down the review and saying, "Come on, you're wasting our time." That was obviously an inside edge, and Rohit's saying, "Yeah, but ad breaks, mate. What? They want us to stick a couple in." And the umpire goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." And while Tony's just bringing Ajit in, sorry about that, Ajit, I just wasn't technically able to do that.
We're all sorted. Hop, skip, jump, and another hop from Time Mills. From Dewsbury, although more associated with playing for Essex and Sussex, not Yorkshire. And this is guided down to third man by Shikhar Dhawan. He's on 54, got yet another IPL 50 for him. 134 for 3. Did I leave my phone? Oh no, my phone's here. If you're struggling on Twitter, I can fill in for you on those.
See, you would think opening a new window in a browser would be an easy thing to do. Not on an Apple, mate.
Well, I think you might have picked the oldest of the laptops. In comes Time Mills, a swing and a miss. And through it goes to Ishan Kishan. And Shikhar Dhawan will stay on 54. You should see the windows at the top. You should see Twitter there somewhere.
We'll get there with you.
You get there with TweetDeck. Hey, we're up and running.
Okay, I think so.
Fantastic.
So. Yep. Right, I'll bring you up to date with those.
They go at 10 and over. They'd reach 179. Would the Punjab Kings 2-2 for them so far? They've 4-2. None and 4, of course, for the Indians. This one is short, cut, just angled really of the bat down to third man. Could easily have been a catch, but in the end it wasn't. It was one of these. In fact, Ajit, that was quite fantastic. Didn't he just angle that bat and guide it to third man on the up, but superbly done. I think we might have lost Ajit. He was there a minute ago. Mills over the wicket. This one is cut, late cut, but there is a backward point. There's a backward point and a shortish third man, precisely for that reason. So well done, Rohit Sharma. Good fielding placing.
Well, it's a very un-Punjab-like innings. They've only lost 3 wickets, but they've maybe not got as many runs as they would have liked, which is normally the opposite of what they do. But it can happen. Dhawan's played a good innings, 58 or 43. And their biggest guns, the two Englishmen, Bairstow and Livingston, came in at the perfect time, but it doesn't always work according to plan.
In comes Tymon Mills again. Hauled away towards mid-wicket this time by Shikhar Dhawan. Not his most elegant of shots. But it will get him a single to go with the 4 and the 2 other singles so far in this over.
And that's the end of the over.
That is the end of the over.
I'll catch you up on Twitter.
Please do.
Jay says, the old-young dichotomy in guerrilla cricket. I've got some scotch, ... 50-50 for eggs. Farong is surprised RCB doesn't have a third kit, and he gives us a picture of that ever-professional outfit. Chelsea, apparently their kit man forgot to pack their jerseys. That's a bit of a you had one job, isn't it? In 1997. And that's a picture of them playing in the other team's strip. Jay says, listeners complaining about crowd noise and jingles are missing the point with a couple of extra words. Agree with you on that one. And Jay also says, continents shall rise, civilizations fall, all times are but the end of times, there's only one permanence in the universe. Andy really fucking hates Apple. You've got that right.
Well, it's true. We're going to see the return
of Ajit or of Basil Tampi.
It's Basil back into the attack. Right arm over, full, not quite the same penetrative Yorker that we saw from Jasprit Bumrah, but it brings a single to the Punjab Kings. Allow me to find Basil and to suitably jingle him. Where is he? Where are you, Basil? Why can't I find you? You were here earlier. There you are.
So, Basil, what's your favourite part of the pan today?
It slightly goes over my head, that jingle.
I'm not sure
is it a reference of some kind?
What famous Basil that is being interviewed there.
I keep letting Ajit in and he keeps not appearing. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Ajit, are you there with us? As Basil is, he's coming over the wicket. Full, again he's looking for the Yorker to Jitesh, but Jitesh is able to dig it out and goes to Rohit Sharma, who is at extra cover. And there is no run on that occasion. 60 for Shikhar Dhawan.
Oh, we've seen some excellent Yorkers in the last couple of overs. Bumrah, who's known for them, and Tampi, not quite so much, but he's bowled a couple of very good ones this over.
Well, he has. Johnny Bairstow never really got going, did he? 12 off 13.
No.
You could see he was frustrated. That's the Bumrah jingle again. That cleaned up Liam Livingstone. It was absolute perler of a delivery.
Yep, he wasn't scoring 300.
Number 21 for Basil. That one again, he's looking to York, but it's dug out and it's bunted down the ground by Shikhar Dhawan. Field
be dangerous when he gets that first innings of his.
Yeah, just one point perhaps tactically from Punjab. Now that they had that longish opening stand, Lenian, we talk about entry points. 10th over is when they lost that first wicket. Would you have been tempted to send Livingston in against the leg spinner? They ended up sending Bairstow and then Livingston walked in the 14th over. Was there a case for Punjab to cash in on Livingston's form?
Yeah, potentially, but what's right, what's wrong? Obviously, Levy's been in the form of his life of late, but Bairstow also smacks the hell out of spin, so it's a tough one. I guess if you're going to be really critical, Bairstow's got a license, and he went just under a run of the ball. But yeah, it probably was the time for Levy to come in, but yeah, look, I don't think if you say Punjab 198 for 5 after 20 overs, I think you're taking that every single day of the week.
Sure. With you on that. Yes,
I have a definite answer to that because Bairstow is a batter with more pedigree than Liam Livingston, especially in the IPL. Livingston played for Rajasthan Royals, had about 5 innings from memory. Didn't quite, give anybody confidence the way he played. He's had a great run this time around, but you've got to stick with the guys who've been there, done that. So for me, when Bairstow came in, I thought it was the right move. Gave your key player more time in the middle, and Livingston the way he got out. You would think that maybe just because the guy is in form, don't expect the world of him.
Fair enough. You could assume though, whenever Livingston came on, you would think Rohit Sharma would have gone to Bumrah as the danger man to get out. That was a heck of a ball. Whether in form, not in form, how you're hitting it, Bumrah at his best.
So there's another important point to be made here. We talked about 3 or 4 batting superstars who will have to sort of multiply their ability by 2 because of the kind of bowling attack that they have and a weakened Mumbai Indians side. So the onus is on the batters to get more runs than they would normally. I know every time they go in, they want to get maximum, but more so. Bumrah as well has got this added responsibility that when he comes into bowl, he's got to look for wickets, and that is what Rohit Sharma is telling him. The moment Bairstow came in, he gave the ball to Bumrah. The moment Livingston came in, he gave the ball to Bumrah. Just a couple of length balls to Bairstow was something that I couldn't understand, but to Livingston, he nailed the Yorker. So now if Mumbai Indians have to make the most of their bowling attack, Bumrah gets the ball, and in the middle stages, I know it will take a lot out of him. The Yorker is the ball that will work for him. You don't have 3 slips and a gully. Bouncer as well is not your sure shot, wicket-taking ball. So come in, nail the Yorkers. He'll have to take that burden for Mumbai Indians.
Yep. Excellent then from Bumrah to get Livingston and from Dhawan and Agarwal to set things up. But let's not rule out Jitesh Sharma, who is quietly putting in a performance. He's now coming in ahead of Shah Rukh Khan in the pecking order, ahead of Odean Smith. And for the 3rd game running, Sanjay has played that vital cameo that you need to make sure you end up closer to 200.
Not easy to keep Shah Rukh Khan down, but he's done that. So well done to him. On a serious note, he's got some pedigree. He's played first-class cricket for Vidarbha and few matches as well. And also the fact that if you look at the T20 game that he's played apart from the IPL, strike rate of 140, average in the high 20s. So this is not somebody that, the franchise have gambled on. He's done it before in proper matches.
Yes, he attempted a shot and it's a catch. That's a 6-2. What's a beauty. That's a huge. This is the biggest. But now he's going back to the pavilion. Yes, that was a slower bounce.
Scoop, it's come off the leading edge, front edge of the bat, and gone over first slip for 4.
Yeah, and we will have the jingle.
One of those that went up 180 degrees away from where he was looking.
Yeah, all runs in the book though, Andy.
It sure is.
An early boundary, settle him down maybe.
Not in the most confident style, and that one seemed to tail the other way a little bit. Rowett leaves it alone, gives it a nod. It's Rowett's, and that's Rowett's 500th in the IPL. Three people who care about these things.
Who's top of the 4 list?
Shikhar Dhawan, probably. I was saying he's probably top of most of the list.
Or Virat, maybe. Virat's here probably.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Warner, actually, given the number.
He's also often up there, yeah.
Could be Warner.
And goes for another scoop, and that's a lot more convincing, that one. He's got that one where he meant it to go over fine leg, a yard over the boundary for 6.
Having been struck by the bats, the ball pitches beyond the boundary.
Yeah, there's another attempt to sweep. Got a lot more of that one, and I think that is where he wanted it to go, Andy.
I think so. What's happening on the Twitter sphere, Jez?
I can tell you that Shikhar Dhawan is the easily
good guess
scored the most fours.
Yeah.
668 of them. Twitter's actually been pretty quiet, apart from Jay. So thank you, Jay, for being with us. He says, after Andy's underrated comment, could he please explain to me the validity of the double block? Oh,
don't start me off.
Oh, fuck.
At Gorilla Cricket, if you want to tweet. Let's get some new tweeters.
Yes.
Make Jez
give us a first-time tweet if you're a long-time listener.
And for those of you watching on YouTube, Stephen Kelk's pointed out that there's no score bar at the moment. Unfortunately, we've got a problem with the app that gives us a score normally. So we'll try and pull it out.
We are working on that one. The new bowler comes in and squares up the left-handed-ish hand a little bit. He gets a thick edge down to third man. That was your cue, Jack, to put a jingle on.
Oh, sorry, who's the bowler?
I was trying not to spoil, but I'll have to tell you now, it's Rabada.
Sorry, yeah.
I think
a lack of practice being in
the jingle hot seat.
In this seat, yeah. Where is Rabada? Is he on 2? I'm not sure Rabada's on here. We'll have to do another ball.
He does, and that's eased through the covers beautifully by Rohit. He doesn't even watch that go. He knows that's 4 as soon as it's left the bat.
Oh no, I did that one.
That was 4 runs. I hit the ball and went 4 runs.
Well, it was such a contemptuous shot. It was almost worth 2 jingles. He didn't move his feet an inch to a ball that was almost a wide. He just dropped his bat on it.
We found Rabada.
A bit of swing there for Rabada. Right, let's that one go.
What's his name? He's a high roller, rock and roller, scariest, deadliest, killing this bowler. He can sink your oats like the Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one harder. What's his name? What's his name? Tell me, what's his name? KG.
He's in again, and Rohit just drops his bat on that one down to third man, and it's beaten the fielder. Oh, mate, indeed. I think that was Dean Smith not quite getting there, and that's another 4. Change his name to Oh Mate Smith.
Yeah, he looked like he was running in treacle and then falling on concrete. Not graceful at all.
That's why they put him down at third man, and Rowett is just toying with the bowling here. You wouldn't think he was a man with few runs under his belt, but that's his quality. He's facing up again. Oh, okay, and has a big swish at that one, just misses it. Through to the keeper for no run. Also getting a bit of shape, Robardo, away from the right-handed batsman.
Yeah, he's not historically always been that effective in the power play, Robardo.
Even when he won the orange cap, he only took like 3 wickets in the power play that year of his 25 overall.
Yeah.
However many it was.
Which is a little bit surprising. You'd think he'd be more in like the Hazelwood camp.
Yep, Rowett decides he's had enough fun with this over, leaves that one as well. End of the over, 21 for no wicket after 2.
So we have a tweet from someone who's responded to your plea. Just says, "Hello, my name is Joy Granville. I am very new here. I hope you will all be my new friends. Thank you all very much."
Wise decision, Joy, to try and come back and start with a clean slate.
Yeah, it's Jay's multiple personality showing through it, unfortunately.
And that's all we have on Twitter for now. It often goes like
this. Oh, sorry, no. Varanga's retweeted a picture of the Sunrisers singing their theme song, which is exactly the Richmond Tigers song in the Australian Football League, with new words.
Team songs, I would refuse to sing it on principle and probably get thrown out of the team or hung from a balcony or something.
Jingle.
Yes, please.
And then this guy called Arshdeep Singh. The obvious jokes will be entertained here.
Well, worse than the T20 blast, according to George Dobell, but that wasn't a bad ball. It squared the batsman up a bit, and he wasn't able to get anything on it.
He was amazing in the last match, Arshdeep Singh. He really did not deserve to be on the losing side. Bowled a couple of phenomenal death overs when it looked like Gujarat were going to win quite comfortably. Only for Dean Smith to blow all of his hard work in the last 2 balls of the innings.
Yeah, and
that wasn't so good.
That one hit the batsman amidships, as they like to say. So, here comes Arshdeep again. He's bowling a left arm over to the left-hander. Down the track comes Kishan, but has a bit of a flap at it. He's going to go out to deep point for a single. Rahul Chahar.
Just Ideal. Sorry.
With the
Just Ideal asked whether you have any comment on the number of sitters spilled in the last week.
I think we did reference that in the preview.
Yeah, there have been some pretty bad ones, haven't there? I think there's probably a few things going on. There's definitely been a little bit of dew in some of the games. There are some less good players in the tournament, if we're going to be honest, because of the expansion in the number of sides, and you'd expect that with that comes some less good fielding. And I don't know. I mean, they're always notable, aren't they? Drop catches. So.
Yes, they will stand out. A little bit of tail into the left-hander, but a very, very optimistic appeal from Arshdeep, and the umpire is suitably unimpressed. But it's another dot ball.
One of the things that we don't do in cricket is really track anything about fielding. So there have been some clangers. I'm thinking really notably here about Sunrisers Hyderabad and their fielding efforts, although they didn't manage to win still. But I don't know if there's been more than last year or in previous years or in...
There was in the last ODI World Cup, in the one here, they were tracking some runs gained in the field.
Yeah, I remember this, yeah.
And the striking thing, top of the list was Jadeja, which is perhaps not that surprising, as Arshdeep comes in again. He gets squared Rowett up a little bit there. It's gone down to gully for no run. But that the average number of runs he saved per game, being top of the list in the whole World Cup, was something like 3.
Yeah, I suspect that's probably wrong. Was that a CricViz stat?
Well, I hope not. If it is, obviously you take that with an entire sack of salt. But I do think people overrate fielding. I've heard people tell me in club cricket, oh, this guy's worth 15 runs in the field, and I just thought, bollocks.
Well, that's probably preposterous. I think I'd probably take a slightly contrarian view to that, but I think there's a lot of value in having 2 amazing fielders.
Yes, you put them in the right place. That one's clipped into the leg side. They're going to push for 2, but Rowett's just going to take the 1. There was an article a year or 2 ago. That's a sloppy throw, and it's almost gone for. It has gone for overthrows. He bounced it right in front of the bowler, right in the foot marks. And I know you're supposed to kind of throw the ball into the ground to scuff it up a bit, but it was really just a bit of a horror, and it might be Liam Livingstone the culprit.
You're looking sheepish.
No, it's not him throwing it.
Does he do the backing up? Or Bairstow takes one to the chest.
Like the natural wicket keeper he is. And I think it was Livingstone on the second throw, which was about 2 yards wide. I thought for a moment they were just going to throw it back and forwards for about 5 runs there. Not great from Punjab. That was minus runs in the field, definitely. Arshdeep just shapes that away a little bit, and Rohit's going to drop it down to third man for a single. Yes, there was an article. I'll do tweets first, actually, Jez.
Okay. Warren says nobody expects the Spanish Rabada. Brown Barrish has taken on because I didn't talk about that Richmond theme song when he tweeted about it at the very beginning of the game, but it was at a peak time and you've really got to time them right to get in. Leas, in response to your request, says, I will be that weird friend that knows way too much about military history and Star Trek then. And O'Neill Harris is with us. Hello, O'Neill. Talking about drop catches, it's brilliant fielding but rubbish catches. Even Faf dropped Juve. Well, I think that the lie was just put to that with that rubbish piece of fielding just then.
There's a shot of the Indian Gene Simmons in the crowd. An extraordinarily long tongue. Right, it's going to be Rabada coming in. I will come back to that article in a moment. He's going to bowl to Rohit. Cuts it away, but it's straight to backward point. Picks it up nicely. Yeah, it's an article that came out a couple of years ago from Freddie Wild's book, and I'm sure most people are familiar with it if you follow T20, and it was comparing RCB and CSK, and comparing Dhoni's captaincy to Kohli's captaincy, and the way the two sides approach things. And it talked about the age of CSK, and how CSK felt it cost them fewer runs in the field than most people thought. And that provided people can catch and stop the ball, they were fine with it. Rohit squared up there again a little bit, and he's got a thickish outside edge. And he was making batting look super easy a couple of overs ago. Now he's making it look difficult again. Again, it's no run. But yeah, they felt that provided people could catch and stop the ball, fielding that wasn't that a big a deal.
I think for the majority of the team, you do have to remember as well, though, that they had Faf du Plessis and Ravi Jadeja for a large amount of the time period that book covers. The two best fielders in the tournament.
Right, eases that one over extra cover. 10 rows back for 6. It's feast or famine for Rohit Sharma in this innings. That was a tremendous shot.
How did that go for 6?
I know. As I say, it really looked like he just eased it over the infield, and suddenly it just kept going.
It wasn't a small 6.
Yeah, giving himself plenty of room, and just to let that swing onto. Well, it says 61 metres. It says on. It went 10 rows back. So either that's a 45-year-old boundary, or that's some more inaccuracy in our on-screen graphics.
Yeah, that wasn't a 61 metre 6.
It didn't, as I say, only if that was a 45 metre boundary. And Rohit Sharma's now got 10,000 runs in T20s. 10,003 to be exact. Oh, that one's way up in the air. He should be out this time. Fine legs around underneath it. It's still in the air, and he makes a good catch because he wasn't right underneath it there. And Punjab are happy. Agarwal's happy because Rohit, after alternately playing balls like a god and a complete duffer, has finally been caught on the latter.
Oof. The pace got him there, didn't it?
He's been turned round on a few shots, and that I'm sure you'll find that's a leading edge with the away. With a little bit short, yeah, he's got a leading edge. He's just taken his eye off it, put his head up in the air, and he's gone.
Willow, weep for me.
A few weeping fans almost.
Willow, weep for me. Bend your branches.
I thought we were going to get the whole song there.
Well, the music certainly matched the mournful expressions on the faces of the blue-shirted fans. And now it's going to be the youngster.
Daryl Brevis, the South African 19-year-old or 18-year-old.
Too young to have a jingle.
He might be too. I've heard the jingle though, so it's on here somewhere.
It's a bit like a question of sport on there, isn't it? You have to find the name behind the
I don't think it
number.
is. Might not have been loaded up, unfortunately.
He's
Leah
on
says
strike.
my junkie boy is having a terrible season.
Could be a number of people. That one's shortish, back of a length, and Brevis put his bat underneath it.
You could play the Riley Meredith jingle.
You could just imagine "Let's Hear It for the Boy" or something. A player who, in commentatorese, I haven't seen a lot of. As in, this is the first time I've ever seen him bat.
Well, I think you're going to be among friends across the world. I think there, Andy. This is his third dig in the IPL.
He's played a lovely shot there. He did everything right except he missed the ball
by miles.
Bat went through beautifully and straight on the line of middle stump. The ball went over off. That's the end of the over. 31 for 1 off 4.
Jay says the ironic thing is I changed my name from Mandawala to my real name after a forced hiatus. New me, clean slate and all that. I think I got 2 tweets in and Bear said, "Is that fucking Manders?"
Yeah.
So I tried.
A rose by any other name would smell as sweet, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's hard to suppress your identity given the uniqueness of your manner of tweeting, Jay.
Well,
we're up to date.
Yep, Vibab's going to come back.
What's YouTube looking like?
It's dead.
Not literally. That one is wide outside off stump. Well, it could be for all I know.
It got a wide there. I think the score just went up by 1.
It was certainly looked like a wide.
We got a short wide jingle.
We got a few wide jingles.
I think they're more impactful in Test matches, those, aren't they?
Oh, that might be out. Did that? Oh no. The bowler thinks so. I think so. The wicketkeeper doesn't.
Oh.
Yeah,
he's on his way. Just the wicketkeeper was so busy catching the ball, he couldn't really appeal. And yes, that was a good piece of bowling. I thought that went past, flicked the edge of Kishan on his way past, and it just left the left-hander at the last millisecond.
Yeah, his miserable season, or miserable-ish season, continues. Not very many runs, and he's not got them very quickly.
Did he make that look a better ball than it was? Johnny's pumped.
It wasn't a bad ball.
I think it more just held its line and moved away, and he just played inside it a little bit, but it was a good length and just a little bit of a nibble on it. You can make all the hand signals you like about what the ball did, mate. You're out.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, if you're Ishan Kishan, you're sort of in the team to hit the ball, not to be the guy who provides stability and bats through the power play and does what Darwan did, which is, the other effective route of batting at this point in the match. He's tried to be Darwan there, and he doesn't have the technique, frankly.
Well, we've seen a few young Indian batsmen. Rishabh Pant springs to mind, who get a bit confused about their identity and what they are, and maybe they have 100 voices in their ear telling them to do something different.
When Snowflake generation for you, Andy.
Yeah, when what they were already doing was great.
Yeah, 3 from 6, not his finest hour. Tilak Varma's gonna.
So we got Mumbai 32 for 2, chasing 199, and the men they're entrusting at 3 or 4 are Brevis and Tilak.
Yeah, we've got a jingle.
That's why Winviz have got them at 14%.
I wonder how that did in the jingle contest. I'm sure Tony can let us know when he comes back on. That one is chopped down to third man. Rabada is around. They'll pick up a single.
He's looked pretty good, Tilak Varma. I'd say that. I really rate him. Obviously helps from a team setup point of view that he's Indian, but definitely merits a place in this side.
Good numbers there. Strike rate of 146 in 20 matches.
Particularly good against spin. So it might be a little bit of a challenge for him in the next couple of overs. But if they're going to get anywhere near this target of, 200, over 10 and over now, he's going to need to pick up a few.
That's a good ball in swing. It's beaten him. I think it's done a bit too much, but he certainly didn't seem to know what to do with it, really. So again, I think you touched on this in the preview, that Brevis is in at 3, which means they've held Yadav back at 5.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
I think Yadav's the man I would like to come in at 3, chasing a big score like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can say except to agree with you. He's their best player. And he's the best at almost all the things that you'll need to do to win the match from here.
Yeah. That one goes the other way. This is good bowling. Brevis was down the track to that, expecting that to come into him, held his own, maybe even tailed away a little bit, and he was nowhere near that either.
Yeah, and I think possibly here as well, was when you've got two 19-year-olds batting with each other, that's where you really want an old head at the other end to come down and say there's still quite a long time left here.
Maybe someone like Surakumar Yadav.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, what a thought!
To just put into context what you actually have to do. He's gone for the big Yahoo.
That's an in-swinger. It's dug out to point for no run. Well, look, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but you have to temper your expectations for the season. If you're thinking, well, we're going to send a couple of 19-year-olds in 3 and 4, then you really are planning for the future. And you might have to take a few L's in the short term, and can you do that without heads being cut off, metaphorically?
Yeah, well, they're really looking down the barrel of one here, I think.
Yeah, and of
so
course...
is that a worse batting order decision than putting Steiners at 8?
No, well, that was just weird.
Yeah, it was.
Jesus.
Big swing that time from Brevis, and has he connected with one yet? He's 6 balls, no runs.
Nope. So it's the old switcheroo for us.
It is the old switcheroo, maybe.
Okay, it is. I'll just do one tweet before going.
Go for it,
It's a lovely one from O'Neill Harris. Says, I always miss the Gorillas when they are off air. Big up, Missy. Well, I miss being on air when we're not on air too, O'Neill, so thank you for that. And I shall hand over. And the bear is navigating his way into the pilot's cockpit, and he is now just about ready to go.
I am indeed, and I'm going to admit Ajit, who is going to arrive. And I've just realised with all this switching around in the studio and not so many people on Skype, we need to get back into the switching chairs marketing jingles, like our Patreon jingle, which we haven't had for ages. Arshdeep is back into the attack, and his first ball is cut, or guided, I'd say, by Tilak. Down to third man, he'll get himself a single. And let me see. Did we manage to get Ajit in, or is he...
Yes, I'm
he's in the ether. Oh, fantastic. We just couldn't see
Hi.
Having problems.
My apologies for earlier in the evening. I came in a bit late, but I don't think maybe you guys missed the... I was waiting.
It's entirely probable. It's entirely probable. And it could well not have been your fault, or indeed your internet. Might just have been
no, it was my internet to begin with. Until the 16th hour, it was purely my internet. So then, we have an interesting situation here. Rohit has failed again.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Arshdeep in. Ooh, that had a bit of swing. Came into the batsman. Clump.